So I don't do intros because I absolutely hate and detest that I don't know how many minutes I should skip when I watch someone that has a stupid fucking intro, ego tripping bullshit. So I want to expand on the knowledge is power concept, because what I mean by power, when you pay your power bill, that's your electricity bill. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is life. Because electricity, we are in an electric universe, and when you have brain problems, they link you up to electronic things, and through electric shocks, they restart your heart and so on. So power is a synonym to electricity. It's synonym to sovereignty, because one is sovereign the moment it stops having to pay bills and it's on the grid. When you're off the grid, and you can generate your own power, that's one step of becoming sovereign. And Tom Barnett on Instagram, an Aussie dude, he was talking again, retrocausally, obviously. So I was just talking yesterday about the fact that we need the system. The system has its place. And like, what's his name? Howdy Mikowski said as well, the video game character cannot change the video game it's in. Okay, so Tom Burnett was also saying, in exact the same concepts that I was and Howdy was saying, there is nothing wrong with the existence of the system, and this goes hand in hand with the awakening. Once you get your power back, once you get your power back, if you dig your heels in to wait for everybody else to get their power back, and you think, oh, if only everybody would hear. What the fuck is it to you if anybody hears? Anybody else but you? Whatever message you hear, it's for you and you alone. Because the moment you have someone else on your power grid, guess what? You have to start a system. So that's why they say you cannot change the circumstances with the same consciousness that created the circumstances. So knowledge is power. Knowledge is also life. Because electricity and power and life, again, are synonym. If they're not, they should be. So, again, I'm going to give the example. You know, when you sit in a lecture and someone is just regurgitating to the best of their ability whatever they have learned because they need to teach you a lecture or whatever, and you know the material they're giving you is death. Because you can't concentrate, you can't focus. The best you can do is cheat or memorize it. But there is no life in the message. There is no electricity in the message. There is no power. And you know that. That's why you have to drag your kids to face the school years. Because there is absolutely no life taught. It's just dogma, propaganda, and bullshit in schools. And the spirit of the child, which is pure and is not yet fully demolished, indoctrinated, and destroyed, for the child to do well in school has to be drugged with ADHD and ADD medication, because their spirit speaks loud and clear that this is death. They know. Because if what they were taught had life in it, it would be electric and exciting. Just like the videos we later seek and search or books that we later seek and search in life and give us life. Because our inner knowing, knowledge is power. And belief is the enemy of knowing. And in knowledge stands your power. And when you know, when you have direct source to direct connection to source, and you download your own knowledge directly, and you generate your own power literally by the simple connection to the source, you can generate power. From then on, your steps to your sovereignty and standing your ground in whatever situation will come. But knowledge is power. Knowledge is electricity. Knowledge is life. And I'm not talking about information. Again, I have to reiterate, you demolishing a library and having being a walking encyclopedia, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about trivia. That's useless. But the power that comes to you from your inner knowing, from your inner security, from your ability, because what you know to be true, you will recognize it by its frequency. Truth that will give you knowledge has a frequency that gives life, that makes you feel alive. That's why you're bored stiff in certain lectures when you hear just lies regurgitated. And as I said, they're not necessarily willingly given to, consciously given to you as lies. It's just the best that the lecturer knows, or the professor in whatever or not. Because in his 10 little books, that's what it said. And he memorized it to his own satisfaction. But you in yourself, you will know by the power that it gives you or takes away from you what's what. Because knowledge is power. And I really wanted to talk about that because here you are trying to pretend you live in a democratic society where you have choice. 2 options, 3 options, that's no choice. Because normally in your choice, you are propagandized to oblivion and you have no knowledge about anything whatsoever. So you cannot but babysit and take by hand and trick and coerce those that have no real knowledge. If you had real knowledge, you would know that I'm not gonna give instruction because it's all personal, but you would know exactly what you're here to do. And also I say, when you have knowledge, you cannot have regrets, because you can look back at any stage of any choice that you've made, that you've taken in your past, and you can genuinely say, I know for a fact in that moment I did what I did from full knowing that this is what I needed to do. So therefore such a person cannot possibly have regrets, because given back the circumstances as they were, they know there would have been no plan B. That is also knowledge. From this knowledge, you gain from knowing. You just know what to eat. You just know when to go. You just know when to stay. You just know. If you don't know, and if you keep having someone to tell you who you are, what you should eat. If you keep following this trend, that diet, that fashion, that group, all I can say is that it's very infantile in your emotional expansion. And you should look at how come you don't trust yourself. How come there is nothing inside of you that you can follow beyond any reasonable doubt, beyond any question? Because so many people are in this infantile state, that's why the system needs to remain as it is. Otherwise, like Tom Burnett just said now, every time you cross the street or the bridge, you would have to pay tax to whoever is stronger in town and would bash your head in if you don't. Every time you lock your house, you would have to live like in a prison because anybody can come and take your shit. Without a system, there is no civilization. And when you learn, when you're in full knowledge and full power of your own self, you will be a so-called anarchist because you will self-govern. How? Does that mean you're gonna build an army and a fortress and a moat and whatnot? No. It just means that within whatever comes on your plate, you will navigate it to your highest possible potential. There will still always be, well, not always, because I strongly believe that the way out is happiness. So following your joy, I know that, I'm sure that absolutely this is the secret. And to get out of this realm, to get out of this dimension of reality, to slalom around it, to not be affected by the crazy of what's outside your sphere of influence. The only way is to have a different frequency to it, because this which is happening has its own frequency. And as I said yesterday, feelings are your barometer. They register what is of a different frequency. Therefore, everything that's happening at the crazy level has no happiness, no joy in it. None of the pawns that perpetuate any of the new, whatever the fuck they're implementing, none of it comes from joy. Therefore, it cannot carry the frequency of joy. Therefore, if you follow your personal joy, which is absolutely personally tailored to you, and you cannot tailor it for anybody else, because you don't know their level of crazy, their level of trauma, their level of whatever. So it's none of your business. So every time I hear, yeah, it would be good if more people. No, there is not about more people. It's what you hear for you and you alone. What you find is for you and you alone. Your path is for you and you alone. Because the moment there is two, there has to be compromise and a system. The moment there is three or more, the same. So whatever gives you personally energy, that's your electricity to establish yourself alone sovereign. And then the resources for whatever crazy you still have on your plate will simply appear. And the path out of this crazy is so that it doesn't affect you personally is not to sit and shout and tell everybody else how to live their life. No, it's to find your moment-to-moment personal joy. I'll give an example of what I mean by that. Back in the day, I was in New Zealand and I was trying to book a holiday. And it was a holiday in Samoa. I think it was 2011, something like that. And there was this particular part of an island in a Samoan island where a lot of resorts there, and it was just so pretty, so perfect, and so on. And I was thinking, yeah, there, man, no path of that process. Like literally, I was not drawn to the computer to make the booking. I was not, even though it looked picture perfect, and there was no joy in me booking that joyous holiday. It didn't feel like joy. And I didn't do it. I ended up going somewhere else for that whole time and so on. What happened? In the time that I was supposed to be there, that I felt absolutely no joy booking, a tsunami came. And that whole corner of the island where I was supposed to be got washed off. To the point that New Zealand sent millions and millions in aid and so on. And Australia as well. So the frequency of joy will make you zig whilst they zag. It will literally, for as long as you're still in this dimension, it will still not affect you. Oh, but that's so selfish. And who gives a shit? You can't live someone else's life. You are just in your own underpants. You cannot be in two pairs of underpants. Only if you wear them one over the other. Okay? But you cannot be in your underpants and someone else's at the same time with them. So your business is for you alone. You have to find out what resonates. You have to listen to that frequency, and thus you will gain your power. Knowledge is power. And I can't scream that enough. Not belief, not projection, not wishful thinking. Is not this knowing. And by power, I literally mean electricity. And you know when there is no electricity in something and no life and no power in it, because it will bore you to death. You will tune out. It may not be your truth at all, or you, because a girlfriend of mine was like, I have to introduce you to I keep telling you my boyfriend how amazing. Her boyfriend is a drone. He still makes conversation about the fucking parties in a socialist country like Germany. Like, he's a complete drone. To him, yeah, I would speak always my ultimate truth. He would look at me like a freaking dead fish. Eyes are open, nobody's home. Lights are on, nobody's home. So I said to her, I already feel his energy and I'm bored stiff. I've got nothing to tell him. So, truth is tailored to each individual. The moment you progress is the moment a new teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And if you stagnate, and if you just hold on to that little one book or that little one code or whatever, then I feel bad for you, son. Because literally you're not there to grow. You have no awareness. You're just a follower. And you will forever need to be handheld. And someone will always need to save you. And that's why for people like you, there is always a cult, there is always a church, there is always a party. And some good doing somewhere. Or some bad doing, whatever floats your goat. But yeah. And Howdy was saying, how we're trying with the people that think that changing the system or fixing the system is the answer. It's so absurd. It's so absurd. I can't explain how absurd it is. I'll try. I don't know how to do. I don't know how to explain it. He was trying to say it's like trying to bring God into the matrix, into the system, into the shit show. So something with a higher consciousness. It's like you trying to go into your child's world to make peace among the problems your child has made with his or her dolls, and he believes full-heartedly in it, and you should go and waste your time and arbitrate for problems that are not there. All you do is you laugh and you say to your child, you're gonna grow and you realize these are not problems. There is absolutely nothing you can do to ease the delusions that your child has, because he's a child and his consciousness is at that level and he thinks he's having strife. So he's thinking, if only mom would or dad would come here and sort out this problem. There is no problem. It's just your consciousness sees it so. The dolls are dead. But in your child's imagination, they're very real. And if only you were kind enough so you make his doll not die or not, you know what I mean? You can't, to try to bring a consciousness to another level of consciousness, it's a waste of time, because you will have to literally stunt yourself and go backwards and lower yourself to something that you know very well it's a delusion. And eventually, whoever is suffering the delusion is gonna, one way or another, grow out of it. So no, fixing the system, prepping so you stay here, kicking and screaming and, oh, there now. I found out that there are requests for forklifters in Antarctic, and oh my God, they're stocking all the food. This is the real reason why there is so shortages, because they're stocking fucking let them. If they still think that once you evolve, your life is still about fucking eggs and bacon and shitting and fucking, more power to you, mate. Like, it's just so dumb. It's absurdly dumb. So there is nothing to fix. The system is perfect for what it is. And look what it's doing. It's going so crazy. Look what C and A and Target and everyone. It's as if they wanna dig themselves all into a hole and bankrupt themselves, because there is a desire that we all shop from Amazon or some shit. You know what I mean? With this woke bullshit. And it's so pathetic and it's so forced. So your only way out, again I go, follow your joy. You will vibrate at the completely different frequency, and it will literally not affect you. And then the more you follow your joy, your resonance will take you to a reality where you won't even not even see it, let alone mix or having to deal with it. You literally will not see it. the crazy and the clown show, because it's not on your dimension anymore. But for you to skip dimensions, you have to skip this thinking of, oh, but everybody needs to know, and if only more people would know, and oh, dude, no. There was a guy, literally, he was trying to be, he had 300 and something or 100,000, over 100,000 subscribers, pretty big channel on YouTube. And the guy was on lives and on shows, he would have like 50 likes and 300 views, like literally very, very low views. And he was like complaining that, oh, you know, why? Because he was constantly trying to be this goody two-shoes ambivalent. If you stand for nothing, you're gonna fall for anything. It's no time to be a waffler. You have to fucking, if you have a channel and you've got something to say something. Cold or hot. Lukewarm, you can just fucking spit it out, exactly like the Bible says. If you'll be lukewarm. And he was trying so much to do the diplomacy bullshit that he has no opinion. He's just letting a typical Aquarius. He was Aquarius, obviously. Oh, let's waffle and let's whatever you say. Yeah, I think, and so that you please everybody. It's like in a wedding where the music is shit because the DJ thinks that he has to make music for everybody. Well, no, bitch. You have to put good music for the people that know music. So bullshit. Anyway. So, stop waffling. Stop being a waffler. Stop looking over your shoulder and ask yourself, what the fuck are you about? What the fuck are you about? What do you really believe in? What the fuck do you want to wear? Where the fuck do you want to go? What the fuck do you want to read? What the fuck do you want to eat? What the fuck do you want to put in a day? And let that shit take you to its natural course. Gosh, I remember the time I gave up on this fucking self-help bullshit, man. The bullshit books, man, from Brian Tracy and these people with make a list and set goals and bullshit fuckery and more. Oh my fucking God, the moment I left this behind. Like these liars, these programmers and propagandists. They just wanna make you into a neurotic drone. Fuck the goals. I'm halfway in my holiday. Only now I decided where I'm going. I'm going to Venice. I just clicked on something and I was like, oh, this seems fantastic, so I'm gonna go there. Because I knew I followed my moment to moment. I don't want to do anything now. It doesn't bring me joy to look for something now. It stresses me. I won't do it. I'll know when to do it. And I did. And I got a fantastic deal. Fantastic deal. Oh my God. Only in Europe. God's sake, I'm in Europe. It's fantastic. For €300, I'm fucking flying to Venice and I'm staying 4 nights. I mean, seriously. And I'm staying on the water. My hotel is underwater. It's like 500 meters from the center, the old town and shit. Like seriously, only in Europe. When I was in Australia and New Zealand, I was only dreamed. I wasn't even able to dream about the shit. But anyway, follow your freaking joy, goals and. Honest to God, because I was following that self-help bullshittery and I was achieving these fucking goals that my little pea brain was capable of doing, and every single goal was more boring than the other. I was like, oh, is this it? The fuck? Fucking making effort for bullshit. No, life should be a fucking walk in the park and one surprise after the other. You want to make God laugh, plan your life. It's pathetic. And yeah, so throw away these fucking drill sergeants and their books and their lists and their programs and their bullshit. Because you can't and diets. Oh my God, I've never held a diet in my whole entire life. Ever, 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 ever. I don't even know. I said in some other video, I have no idea what calories are. I don't understand that. Because I don't need to, because it's bullshit. And so, find out your personal joy and you will find your exit. Knowledge is power. And power is electricity. And when you don't have to pay the electricity bill anymore, you're off grid. And that makes you sovereign, bitch. How about them apples?